So today we're going to be continuing to talk about methods because they are a very important and crucial part of Java, and we will be using methods a lot if you actually get really deep into Java. So we will be continuing with methods. So today, here are the lesson objectives. First, we're going to go over modifying parameters, how parameters are not actually related to the variable that we passed. And then I'm going to introduce nested methods, which you guys will be using for your project. And then we will be introducing the old lady project. And I'll get more into it, but it is a relatively easy project involved using methods. It's just time consuming, which is why you guys will be having the entire class to work on it. There's a typo. And at 3:30 we will have a break, and during the break we will be doing some interactive activities not that related to Java. And then you guys will have a little bit more time to work, maybe like 10-15 minutes, depending on how much time you spend on the break. And then we'll do questions. If you guys need help with the project, you guys can share your screen or invite me to edit on your code. And then me and the TA came up with some common example of bugs. If you don't know what bugs are just common mistakes that you see in code, and then we can demonstrate those mistakes to you so you guys can avoid them in the future. And then lastly, we'll show the correct solutions and we'll be done with this class. Okay, so let's get started. We have a lot to unpack today. First off, for review, what we learned last class is methods are used for a repetition of an action. And repetition of action, basically, it's different from for loops and while loops, in that for loops and while loops, they loop through something multiple times at once, and then they're done with it. While methods are, you can call them, you can repeat them any single time. At any time. Once you call a method, it doesn't really matter. You can call it many times, you can call it one time. If you call it, it repeats the action. Methods are part of a class, unlike for loop and while loops, which can be part of a method or part of the main, but they are not directly part of the class. Next, we have format. The format, if you remember, public static void, my method, and modifier is the public, private, etc. If you want to review what we did with modifiers last time, I can put some links in the chat on break. And then we have static, which we won't be getting into much for this class. If you're interested, I can also put some link in the chat later. Void, return. Basically, if you have void, it means the method doesn't return anything. If you don't have void, you have to define what type of method it is, whether it's an int, a double, a boolean, etc., etc. And then after you define the type of variable, type of method it is, it returns something. And then we have the name. Name can be whatever it is, but do name it according to naming conventions that there are. And then lastly, parameters or arguments. Now these are optional and you don't really have to have a parameter or argument, and then they go in the little parentheses. And then the brackets, of course, the brackets include everything that it is included in the method. Also, there's calling methods. You type out the method name and parameters if there exist any. If there aren't any parameters, you just type out the parentheses. Remember, even if you don't have parameters, you have to type out the parentheses. The parentheses are very important. The computer will throw an error if you don't type out the parentheses. Returning value, so value has to be, the value that is returned has to equal the type of method. If you have a method that's defined as an int, you can't return a string, you can't return a double, you have to return an int. And lastly, parameter is not the defined variable. Parameter does not equal the defined variable. To modify a variable in a method, don't pass it, and I have another typo here. Don't pass it through the parameter. Don't pass it in as an argument. And I will demo how that works after we go through nested methods. Okay, so next we're moving on to nested methods. So nested methods, we didn't get to them last class, but nested methods, as their name states, are really similar to nested for loops and nested while loops and nested if else, all that stuff, and that you can call a method within a method. So take a look at this, and what do you guys think will be printed out when I click run? I will give you guys 2 minutes. It is 3:07. Present to answer by 3:09. Okay, what do you guys think will be printed out when I hit run? William thinks it's 10. Another 10 in the chat. Lots of 10 so far. Okay, now we have 30 more seconds. Anybody who wants to participate, please put your answers in the chat. 2 and 5, what else? What do you mean, what else? 2 and 5?
What else can we do? Like add 4 and 6?
Yes, you can do any mathematical operation within methods. All mathematical operations that we've done within the main can be done within methods. Very good question, by the way. Okay, it is 3:09. Yes, you guys are correct. The answer is 10. And let's briefly go over it. This is quite easy. So first we have the main. We defined the int x as equal to 5, and then we system that out, that print line times 2 of x. So let's come to times 2. Times 2, the parameter that passed in, int x equals 5. It returns x times 2, so it returns 10. And then when it returns 10, it just prints out 10. That is quite easy. Oh, that wasn't a question? Okay. All right. Any other questions other than the one that was just proposed about this exercise? If not, we will be moving on. This one is a little bit more difficult, so let's see if you guys can solve it. It is 3:10 right now. Let's give it again 2 more minutes. There's 3:12. Okay, very good. Everyone got it correct. It is 20. And the way that this works is the computer goes to here, it goes to times 4, and it goes after it gets in time 4, it goes to time 2, and times 2, 2 times 5 equals 10. And after it comes back, this returns 10. So this equals 10 times 2. So 10 times 2 equals 20, and it returns 20. And that's how it works. Very good. Real quick, I will demo. Never mind. Let's reintroduce the old lady project first. And then so here is the old lady project, and it's basically the end goal, just print out the poem. Has anybody heard of this poem before? No. Okay. Well, here's the poem. So you can see. Oh, you've heard of this poem before, William? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically you guys can see that there is a lot of repetition. So I don't know why she swallowed a fly, perhaps she'll die. And this line is repeated throughout the poem. And then there's one more page. And basically this is a poem about an old lady who kept eating things she wasn't supposed to. And every time she kept eating things, the poem grows longer. And the project that you guys will have to, and the problem you guys will have to solve is basically print out this poem using methods. Of course, you can print out the poem by having print line and then just print out every single line, but that is a bit troublesome, and there are more efficient ways to do that, which is using methods, and that's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to solve this problem using methods. Of course, you can also use for loops and while loops, but it's not recommended because that would take a long time, and you guys probably wouldn't finish in class because we only have like an hour. We won't have 48 minutes left now. And then you guys will have the rest of the class to finish. And if you want, during the last 10, 15 minutes, you can share your solutions with the class. Of course, there is more than one way to do it. And I really encourage you guys to share the different ways you guys have solved this. And after you share your solutions with the class, we, as in me and the TA, my TA, we will share the answer that we have worked on. That is one of the correct ways to do it. And perhaps to make this easier, there are repeated lines. You guys can highlight the repeated lines in different colors to keep track of how many methods you make or how many times it is repeated. Okay? All right, that is all for the old lady project. I will now demo what we didn't finish last class about modifying methods, modifying parameters. So you guys can see here that we have a Boolean named test, that is true, and Boolean named test1, that is also true. So when I run this, oops, not this one. Never mind, we have a little technical difficulty here, but I'll just go through this. So when this runs change boolean.test1, this should print out false because this returns false. Because test1 is false and this returns false. But if we try to print out test1 after this, if we do test1 right here, this will print out to true because this only modified the parameter, and the parameter when this gets passed in, this test1 and that test1 becomes two separate test1s. This the parameter test1 is more temporary, and after it returns, it just disappears. And the test1 out here is more permanent. So when the computer gets to this command, it goes to the permanent test1, which is this. So when a parameter is modified, it is not this does not affect the variable that is passed in. Okay, that is one of the more common bugs that people encounter. And we will get more into these bugs as we get more into methods, and not just methods that return stuff, but also methods that modifies other variables. But this is just what we didn't get to finish last class. Does anybody have any questions about this? Okay, guys, it is 3:30. How are you guys doing? Is everyone making good progress?
Not really.
Do you need help?
No, but like every few minutes it switches to Zoom switches to full screen mode.
Oh.
But if you're not on full screen mode, then you can like take the chat and bring it into Safari so you can see what you're supposed to print while coding in Replit.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry, but I don't know how to fix that problem. On the other hand, I made a game and I'll put the link to the game in the chat right now. Once you click on it, you can write your name in. This is a link to a webpage where we can play.
How much did it cost? I saw that an .io page costs $9,999.
I did not create the .io page, so I don't have to pay for it. What I actually did is this is a game that another person has created, and basically, you know, where somebody draws and then everyone else tries to guess what they draw. This is something like that, and we are going to be drawing terms related to Java.
It's called Gartic.io, is it?
No, it's called Scribble.
No, the original game is called Gartic.
Yeah, I don't know. The original game was very old. I think it was invented like really long time ago, so I don't know. Everyone who wants to. Ooh, several people left. 1 second. Let me share my screen. We only have 2 players right now. So if you want to play in the game, 3 players now. 4 players now. Okay, great. We will get started in a minute. If you want to join, please join very soon, or else we're going to start the game.
It's back to school. Are you 2 projects due the same day ready?
Okay. Okay.
Get your entire list for lift ready.
Whoever has their mic on, can you mute yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started. Well, I guess that's everyone. I will not be drawing because you guys can see my screen. So I think this will be the end of the game now. You guys can now get back to working, and in a couple of minutes, we will, Jim and I will be talking about some of the common bugs that you guys encounter and then sharing the correct solution. And that will be it for class. So go back to working. Ask if you have any questions, type it out in the chat, just speak out. But yeah, that's it. Hi guys, it's about time we regroup together. Did anyone finish like the project completely?
What do you expect?
Yeah, sorry about that. But we only have like an hour and we have to get through a lot of stuff. If you want to stay after class and keep working, that's totally fine. But I do understand that most of you have some other responsibilities. So we do have a planned activity where we can go through, and there are. Oh, you did finish, but it's not the best. That's okay. That's okay. Even if you didn't finish, that's totally okay. We only have an hour for each class, and due to the time constraints, it's definitely okay if you guys don't finish. And okay, so we have several examples, 4 examples actually, of things that go wrong when we run the program. And this is the first one. Okay, the error I think is over here. So can you guys find what the error is? Okay, Jeremy said it's print instead of print line. Very good. On line 29. Exactly. Very good. You guys are right. There are several print instead of print line on line 29, line 40, and yeah, that's the 2 mistakes in here. I'm not gonna click run because it doesn't compile when there are other mistakes. That's good. Very good. Oh yeah, right. On line 2 and line 8. Very good, you guys. And let's move on to the second exercise. Can you guys find what is wrong here?
Line 3.
Line 3?
No, the function line 3.
Oh, okay, the function line 3. And what other mistakes do you guys see?
Actually, no, sorry.
No, you are correct. The function on line 3 is incorrect in that it's supposed to be void, but instead it's int. Does anybody else see any other?
Yes, in the function line 5.
Very good. The function line 5 is supposed to be void, but it's string. Another reminder, if you use void, it doesn't return anything. If you use int or string or data types like that, it
So
returns something
printing
that's...
doesn't count as returning a value?
No, it returning means return. So if instead of like of this, we have return she swallowed etc and semicolon, that would work, okay? Because we are returning a string. This is a string. Remember, anything in quotations is a string. This is, and it returns that, then it's true. But since that is not the case, we have this. There is no return in this entire method. That's an error. Okay?
So you said you could like make a function to replace system.out.println. Can you check mine?
Okay, you can put it in the chat. While I check Williams, can you guys try to find the error in this one? It's a formatting. Is it okay? This isn't technically an error. It's just a formatting incorrection. Some people like to format like this. Not me personally.
What other one?
There is another error. This one is actually quite difficult. Let's give it 30 more seconds. If you guys can't find the error in 30 seconds.
Come here.
If you guys can't find the error in 30 seconds, we will reveal the answer. Okay, this is actually a quite difficult one.
Does the class have to be public? Because we just do class in class and then the class name?
That is a very good question, and it relates to the problem here as well. So we have to have a modifier in front of classes and methods.
Replit,
so class can be public, can be private, can be protected, but I think we do have we do need a modifier in front of the class. Well, now methods sometimes don't need a modifiers, but they are very rare occasions where they don't need. Sorry, yes?
But in Replit, the class doesn't need a modifier.
I think it differs from IDE to IDE. For IntelliJ, the IDE that I'm using right now, I do need a modifier in front of the class. And the thing that's wrong with this code here is that the name of the file is wrong3.java, but the name of the class is incorrect solution. Now here, the name of the class and the name of the file doesn't match, and that's an error. Now this is a pretty sneaky error because there's nothing wrong with the code that actually prints out. Once I fix this, it will print out perfectly. Last problem. We are running short on time, so I will give it 1 minute. The error is on this page, hint. Okay, line 6. This line 6 or the method line 6? Well, either way, the mistake here is actually this. We always use curly brackets instead of square brackets. Okay, always use curly brackets instead of square brackets. Well, line 6 is correct because it had curly brackets. Line 5 was not correct, and line 7 was not correct because it had square brackets. And also line 3 and line 1. Now I'm not going to go through and fix all of them, but we are running short because we're running short on time. And here, this is the correct solution. Let me try running. Can I run this with other files? Okay, no. There are mistakes. Yeah, I can't run this, but this is the correct solution because I ran it several times before, other than formatting problems. But this is the correct solution. If you guys want, I can paste it in the chat. Nah, okay, you guys don't need to paste it. Okay, I guess everyone, at least have an idea on how to solve this. Maybe you guys just need more time. But if you want to stay after and work on this project, you guys can stay after class. If you finished or you don't have any questions or you have something else to get to, you guys can leave. Class is officially over. And I hope you guys had fun with this class. We will be getting onto arrays and array lists next class. Okay.